Utopians, and I've got a question for you. Why do we use the term race when talking about fantasy species? Like in reference to dwarves, orcs, elves, halflings, gnomes, all of that, we tend to use the word race. And this got me thinking. And I kind of want to have a conversation about it. This video is going to be pretty short. Probably, maybe. I ramble a lot, so we'll see. But I'm going to try to do this in one shot if I can. So, that being said, let me try to tell you my thought process in this. When we approach sci-fi species, like say Star Trek, Romulans, Klingons, all that, Vulcans, we do refer to them as species or cultures because that's what they are. But when we look at the terms of like fantasy races, dwarves, orcs, elves, all that, we call them races when they don't have genetic ancestry together in most settings. They don't have even cultural backgrounds or cultural history together. They just are there. By term, they are species and not races. Now, the word itself holds baggage in the conversation of everything in and of itself, and with it, the implications of other things that go along with the fantasy races do, in the end, become more problematic when you apply it with the idea of race versus the idea of species. For instance, isolated cities with only one, as I'm going to call them right now, species in them. So like a dwarf city or orc city, the cities being non-integrated, which we will do a video on that later. Or even the idea of evil races, where they might have a productivity towards, like, say, violence, or, sneaking around stealing stuff like the Kinder. These implications take on a whole different format, sorry about my stutter, when we approach it as the term race instead of the term species, or even ancestry, origin, lineage, and so on. So I gotta ask you, why? Why do we do this? I asked a number of people today, and got different answers, but a lot of it came back down to that's what Tolkien did. Mind you, Tolkien's books were written in the 40s. Hobbit was 1937 to be precise. So it just carried over. Gygax brought that into D&D, and so on and so forth, and we never changed it. I didn't know there was a conversation about this going on, because at my table we really didn't talk about that. But when I brought up with others, like, oh yeah, this conversation's been going on for a while. And I think it's an important conversation. At this point at my D&D table, I'm going to start saying ancestry, or lineage, or even origin, to replace race in the conversation due to the idea they're not races. Another problem I have with this terminology, using race as the defining term for these different groups creates the need for other words. Now when we talk about, say, elves, for instance, we bring in the conversation subrace. We bring in the conversation the idea of other elvish races that are connected to the elves. This is more typical to our classical understanding of what race is as a whole. A high elf, gray elf, wood elf, even drow, shade arcane, eladrin are all connected to a common heritage, a common ancestry, but have different cultures applying to them that have them spread out through different biomes and living regions. This is more of a race. So the fact that we're calling these species or these origins, or whatever you want to call them, races, creates this new need to call this thing we already have a word for into a new word, subrace. I got to think about this morning, that's why I did this video. It's like, why are we doing this? It's been, 1940s, it's been 80 years since this was set down as a general term. As gamers, D&D was 1970s, I think, 77 or whatever? Even then, you look at that, that's been a long time. I'm 38. I was born in 83. So if I'm remembering the date right, which I could be wrong, I don't remember the exact date D&D came out. I just know it was done at Gen Con. That's really why I know about it. I might be getting my games mixed up there even. But when the date came out, that would be older than 40 years at this point, and we just are now starting to have this conversation. And I think it shows that us as a culture, us as geeks, as nerds or whatnot, have grown. And I present this not as an idea of bringing forth some political statement or anything. I'm just thinking this is a good way to start the conversation of why are we using certain words? Even if you don't take it in the negative light how they use it, why are we not using the right terminology even? Because we traditionally have been doing it because it sounds better, but I mean all that's just because that's how it's been done instead of moving forward. Now I did hear that Pathfinder has changed the wording. I think they use Ancestry with 2nd edition. And this excites me, makes me want to play Pathfinder 2nd edition more. And I know like the idea of the term species sounds a little too science fiction-y, a little too scientific for people. But maybe, check out some of those other ones like Lineage or Origin or Ancestry or whatnot. Try those at your table. See how people react to it. See how it really integrates into how your storytelling is too. Instead of saying, oh, the Dwarvish race, say the Dwarvish or someone of Dwarvish ancestry or someone of Elvish ancestry. It'll even make species or like halflings or half species, like half elves, half orcs, half dwarves, whatever is in your game, feel more unique because they're because they're coming from these two ancestries. I just think it would be something fun to see more people integrating. When I found out about that terminology, when I was actually looking into this, I got excited because I never thought about doing that. I've been using race for years as the term, and just now I was like, wait, this is kind of not the right term. But I mean, I guess that's just me musing. This video went on a lot longer than I thought, but I hope you guys found it interesting. Well, I'll talk to y'all later. Y'all have a good one, and I love you all. Bye. Hey y'all, did you know that not only do I upload gaming here, but I also stream? Most of the Fastmode games you see on here are prior stream on Twitch. Also, I have a Patreon with my wife, Nazda Neko, and a merch store if you're interested. You get everything from, this Utopian shirt to a Princess shirt, or even some of the other Pillar stuff. Check it all out. I will put the links below. And I'll see you next time. Bye.